Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of B6 and Beyond. You're here with me, Ben, and obviously Cory, as you can see there. We are here for a special transfer deadline day episode, and there is a lot to unpack. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We have an ongoing giveaway. Every 500 followers, we will be giving away either a shirt or some match tickets. The next one being at 1,000. So as soon as you click that subscribe button, you're automatically entered. Let's get into it. Cory, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. Do you know what? After a very dim summer is what I meant to say.
Oh,
finally got some good news. It's yeah. I'm a lot happier than I was probably when I woke up this morning. Let's say that.
Oh, most definitely. So, obviously, we've had the news today that Aston Villa have announced the signings of 3 players joining the football club. Let's unpack them. So, we've got, first of all, Victor Lindelof. We'll start off with the best one. So, I personally like it, and I can see there's been a little bit of a mixed bag of reactions from Villa fans. Some people hating it, some people not. But for me, he's a Premier League defender. He's played for years and years for Manchester United at the top level. He's played, Champions League football. He's captain Sweden. He's not going to start every game. He's a free transfer, so it's low cost. What am I not getting here? I don't understand why people don't think that that's a clever signing. Unai Emery has got a speciality of getting the best out of these sort of players, so I just don't understand why people are not on board with it.
I think it's up there as probably one of the smartest signings we've made in terms of you look at what we could have done, and it's similar with a lot of the players we signed. We could have panic buyed today. We could have gone into it knowing that we needed players and just gone and got anyone. We could have gone and got someone like Disasi back. Don't get me wrong, Disasi wasn't bad last year, but wages would have been astronomical. It's a loan, that sort of thing. Like you say, he's a free agent. He knows what it takes. He's played at one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world, at Man United. He's been there through sort of their thick and thin. He played 16 Premier League games last year. He played 6 Europa League games last year, which is another key part of us being in Europa League. Konza, we've seen Konza, he's sort of slipped in form a bit, that sort of thing. He's now got someone pressuring him to make sure he's playing games. And also, like you say, he can play right back, he can play centre back, he's captain Sweden, he's captain Man United, he's done all these things. I don't see a problem with it, personally. And he's not going to play every game, but that's what we need.
I think we need to just add to it as well. Manchester United is a poisonous football club, which I'm sure we will go on to in a little bit. But how many players have you seen that have failed at Manchester United? They've left, and then the next season at whatever club they've gone to, they've played extremely well. And the thing is, I get it. Well, he's 31, I believe now. Lindelof. He's an experienced footballer. He's been there. He's done everything. Was he there when? They definitely wouldn't have been there when they last won the league. But he definitely has been there for. He was there for the Europa League win.
He was, yeah. He was there for the Europa League. He would have been there for the FA Cup and League Cup wins. I'd like to say, he's probably just too soon in terms of Premier League. I've checked that quickly, but he's been there through all the highs and lows.
Was he a Sir Alex Ferguson signing?
I think he was either that or Moyes, potentially. I'm just going to look now. Victor Lindelof, career.
But anyway, I'm really happy with
it. He was also playing Champions League football for Benfica as well before that. So, can't really complain with that.
Okay. So I think the clear... Go on, sorry.
His last game for Man United was actually against Villa as well. He played in that 2-0 win.
I think the clear message is really, let's not criticise it before it actually happens. If he comes in and it's a disaster, then fair enough. We've had a history of Swedes at the football club. So the last 2 that we've had, Robin Olsen and Augustinsson, I think you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Both shite, to summarise, to put it bluntly.
Yeah.
But then one of our best ever players, who was a centre-back in Olaf Malberg. So let's just be positive about it. Let's take the rays of light out of it, which we can.
Yeah.
And let's be positive, because there's been so much toxicity, if that's the word I'm looking for, around the football club, especially with everything that's gone on this summer and the starts of the season. I think we need to start being positive. So let's talk about the boys. Right, so we've just spoke about Man United, so I think it is only fair that we start with Jadon Sancho. Now, some Villa fans are again being a bit pessimistic around this one, and some Villa fans are saying about how much the wages are. I think, Cory, you're probably better off to talk about this because you just broke it down to me off air pretty well. So, talk to me about Jadon Sancho's transfer, the loan, and the 80%, and why it makes sense.
Yeah, so obviously, ultimately, with his contract left at the moment, we know he's got 1 year left of his contract. However, they do have an option, Man United, to extend his contract. And what was being reported before was if Sancho didn't find a club in the window, they were going to extend his contract anyway, basically to keep that value. From our side of things, that's obviously brilliant because it means if they do extend his contract, which they will do, if we do decide to purchase him next summer, it's going to be sort of cheaper because he's got 1 year left on his contract. On a free, he's probably going to be looking for the same wages, whereas obviously if he's happy at Villa and he's done well, those wages will come down, I imagine, and he'd be happy to come over. Also, we've done the signing on the 1st of September, which means it's a completely new sort of calendar for wages. So instead of the July and August signings, where that goes into sort of a different season, so to speak, of the books, that's a completely different sort of signing there with Sancho coming in. We can put that onto this year's books instead.
I love Marcus Rashford. He is 100% been in the ear of Jadon Sancho. Yes. I'm still waiting to see what squad numbers that they're going to wear, but I wouldn't be surprised if he took the number 9 and Jadon Sancho's Villa's number 9 or something. Now, the Villa fan base will definitely make that work somehow. Yeah. And ultimately, with Rashford wearing the number 9, it would make sense, but maybe not. I think he's wore the number 25 at Man United, didn't he? So potentially,
he has. I'm pretty sure, was he not 19 at some point? And obviously, our 19's just left.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was.
Either way, it doesn't really matter what squad number he's going to wear. I might get it on the back of my shirt when I get it, but we'll see. No, I'm really happy with it. I think he's going to slot in on that left wing very, very well. What I do think this means, though, to be fair, he could play on the right because he could play either side. But I think he's better off the left myself.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, does Emery see Rodgers as a right winger, or does he see him as a left attacking mid? And would he see Sancho as potentially that left attacking mid more because he's more of a winger?
I mean,
it's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is, but also another question you do ask is this a sort of way of pushing Morgan Rodgers and saying, listen, you've not been performing at your best for a few weeks, months now, last few games. We need you to step up. We're going to bring in people like Jadon Sancho, who have played in the England squad. Harvey Elliott, who obviously we're going to talk about in a moment. He can play in that 10. He can play off to the right or left as well. Marlon's obviously there. Gesson's there now. We've got a lot of options where it's not just on Morgan Rodgers' shoulders anymore, but also he still needs to step up.
Players need to start performing.
Exactly.
So, but I like it regardless of wherever you put him. I know that there's obviously the pessimistic side about Jadon Sancho and how much it's going to cost and his performances at certain times in his career. But look, Manchester United is a poisonous football club, and I will die on the hill that it is players like I said in the Lindelof piece. Just players leave there and they do better. Sancho, when he was at Dortmund, for me, he was decent on loan. Yeah. As Chelsea, he wasn't bad on loan. He did fairly well. He scored in the Conference League final, and it was a lovely goal as well. Chelsea wanted to sign Jadon Sancho. The only reason they didn't is because he didn't want to drop his 200k wages or whatever it is, 250k wages. I think it's 200k because the rumours are we're paying 80% of 200k wages.
And I think another thing to mention as well with Chelsea is, as much as they've got sort of this whole philosophy going on, we all know Enzo Maresca's a terrible man manager. If he doesn't deem you good enough, you're not even getting a chance at training with the first team. The way he's dealt with some of these players at Chelsea's frankly quite disgusting, the way he just boots them out. Someone like Emery will take him under his wing and say, listen, Jadon, you've got all the potential in the world. I'm happy to work with you if you're happy to work with me. And that's why the likes of John Duran left. John Duran, Emery did that to him, and John Duran threw it back in his face, and that's why he's not at the club now. And that's where we need to look and say, you look at Rashford, everyone said Rashford had a stinking attitude, comes to Villa and for those 6 months was electric and obviously got his move to Barcelona, and fair play to him.
Yeah. Overall, I'm really happy with the signing, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward to him getting on the pitch, and hopefully we see that Jadon Sancho where he's getting up for it, and hopefully he pushes him on in his career, and he can try and get himself back in the England squad, because let's be realistic, this boy's got a lot of talent. He really has. And I remember when he was at Dortmund, the first spell, he was absolutely amazing. He was getting comparisons, and I don't want to make this sound blow this out of proportion, because this is what it was. It was true for the younger audience that listen to this right now. You won't remember this, but Jadon Sancho, when he was at Dortmund that season, when he was ridiculous, he was getting comparisons to Neymar. They were saying he was the English Neymar. So he's clearly got a lot of ability. It just hasn't ticked for him, and that Manchester United transfer for him was a poor move. He was perceived as another one of those players in the long list of ever growing players that are to take Manchester United back to the top, with the Di Marias, Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafa Varane, Casemiro, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Jadon Sancho was in that list of players that they thought was going to take them back to Manchester United, that win everything, but sadly it just hasn't worked out for him, and there's a lot of pressure on a young lad's shoulders, really. You play, let's be realistic, Manchester United are arguably the biggest football club in the country, between them and Liverpool. To have that pressure on your shoulders, and the transfer fee was quite steep, if I remember rightly. I don't think it was
75 to 80.
Was it 75? There you go. It's a lot on his shoulders,
especially for a 21-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with it overall. So the big one for me, Harvey Elliott.
There's been a few details announced actually about his contract and stuff. Well,
just got it here in front of me. I was just reading it in the corner of my eye. So 10 games, and then the obligation is activated, I've read.
Yeah.
Am I reading that there's a buyback clause potentially?
There is a buyback clause, yeah.
That don't fill me with much confidence. I didn't really like the idea of that, to be honest with you. But then again,
you know what though? I'll be honest, right? So we'll talk obviously about Harvey Elliott first, and then we'll go into that buyback clause thing. Again, this is a brilliant signing. This is one that Ben can take sort of the lead on after this, because Ben's been calling for Harvey Elliott since day one, and anybody who sort of watched the podcasts, we sort of did a first podcast, and it was sort of dream signings, that sort of thing. And Ben's been screaming about Harvey Elliott. I put Harvey Elliott in my list mainly because Ben mentioned it to me. But it's just a clever signing. It really is. Ben, I think you're probably best to take this one.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, with Harvey Elliott, he's a young player, 22 years old. He's got bags of ability. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot. And he's a really clever footballer. He finds those pockets of space so well. And for those Villa fans that were at the game last night or watched the game, we looked a much better side when we had Emiliano Buendia come on the pitch. And when Emi Buendia was on the pitch to find those little pockets, we were dangerous, and we need a player in that position. If we had Harvey Elliott last night, I am confident that we would have won that game, because the way he plays and the way he can find those pockets in between the lines, he would have absolutely ripped them apart last night. In the under-21 Euros in the summer, he was by far the best. He won the player of the tournament, and he dragged England through games in that tournament. Yes, he's 22 years old, so naturally he's playing a little bit older than some of the players he's going against. But that's anyone that talks about that and uses that as an excuse is just a wally. You can't deny the level of ability that he showed on the pitch. He was head and shoulders above everyone. The guy is 22 years old. He has won absolutely everything at Liverpool. He's a serial winner. He's had winning bred into his mindset. So he's coming in at a young age, won everything, played bags of games for Liverpool. Probably not as much as he probably would want to, but let's be realistic. When you're around that level of player, it can be difficult. All that he's waiting on, and I am pretty confident in, and this is why I've been saying for a while that it is my dream signing to get Harvey Elliott over the line. He's waiting for that club to take the gamble on him, and Aston Villa have been that club, and we have gone for him, to play him week in, week out, let him grow, let him develop, and I'm telling you, by the end of the season, he's going to be ridiculous. Does he qualify for potentially for Young Player of the Year? Because similar.
Yeah, it's 23, and if you're 23 at the start of the season,
get your money on it.
The thing is another thing to point out, like you said about him, sort of, he's been bred to be a winner, this sort of thing. He's worked under one of the best Premier League managers we've ever seen in Jurgen Klopp. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, the trophies and stuff don't really back that. That doesn't matter. As a coach, as a manager, however you want to portray him, as a player manager, there's none better than Jurgen Klopp. As a player to coach to player manager, there's no one better. And
well, let's be realistic. Josh, I had to jump in there. Let's be realistic. If it weren't for Pep Guardiola, how many more trophies would Jurgen Klopp have had at Liverpool? So sorry,
exactly that. That's the thing, and that's the thing as well. Like we're talking about, Harvey Elliott was signed at 16 years old by Jurgen Klopp. He worked with Jurgen Klopp for the next 5 years. Obviously, he broke his leg at one point when he was, I think, 18, 17. And he's come back from that and still continued to sort of graft and put the work in. And now, obviously, as you say, he's a Liverpool fan himself, but he's put that to one side and said, I want to play football games. I should be playing football games. And to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised with how well he did at the Euros that he hasn't been sort of a permanent fixture at Liverpool. I know they did sign Florian Wirtz, but even then I thought Elliott would have sort of definitely got a lot more minutes than he has. But I think it's a terrific sign. And obviously, as you say, 10 games to get your buy option. Yes, if Liverpool do have the buyback clause, which obviously we'll go on to now, that is a slight concern. For me, I personally don't think they'll activate it unless Harvey Elliott turns into an absolute world, which he has the potential to do, but unless he ends up being better than Wirtz is for Liverpool, I don't see Liverpool activating that buyback clause.
Yeah, because I see him as a 10, but you can also definitely play off that right, and it's just really interesting to understand who would replace Mo Salah at Liverpool, because they're going to have to. I personally think it could be someone like a Semenyo.
I think it'll be Semenyo, yeah.
That's my golden ticket to replace him. So I am so excited. We'll have a chat after this because I think we need to think about the Everton game and potentially going. Obviously, we've had the chat about the Feyenoord game as well, but yeah. I think, listen, we have literally just hit a all English potential front four in Ollie Watkins, Jadon Sancho, Morgan Rogers, and Harvey Elliott. Literally, Morgan Rogers is going to love this. He's going to absolutely love this. He had his little bromance with JJ, and he's clearly threw his toys out the pram about JJ going, like a lot of them have, which we'll go into in a minute, and rightfully so, because of a certain someone. Yeah. But now he's got some young lads, 22, 25. I reckon he'll get on with them like a house on fire, and that might be speculation. He could, ultimately, he could think they're a pair of knobs. Who knows? But the likelihood is footballers they get on with each other quite well, don't they? And they get these little cliques, and especially being England a he's probably played with a few of them throughout the different levels. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Do you know what? As well, I'm gonna throw out there, and if anybody finds this and ends up clipping it and it makes me look a dick, fair enough. But I'm gonna throw out there anyway. Harvey Elliott and Ollie Watkins for me has the potential to be exactly what Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins were in that Netherlands game. That link up there, the wavelength they could both be on in terms of the runs Watkins makes off the balls and how quickly Harvey Elliott, as you said, can take the ball on the half turn in the pocket and feed a ball through. We could genuinely, I mean, me and Ben have both said at the start of the season we thought Watkins was going to hit 20 goals this season, and I think with what's happened in the window, a lot of players, including him, have sort of been all over the place mentally. But now I think that's a signing that could really sort of build his confidence back. And again, he's not really got any competition, Watkins, anymore still, unless Marlon starts playing up front.
Well, if you want to blow something completely out of proportion, we've just signed a young 22-year-old English Marco Asensio.
Yeah.
Similar sort of style, similar sort of player, younger, still got loads of room to grow. I'm so impressed. I'm so happy about it, especially after yesterday, because I've got to be honest with you, at the end of the game, I had to call Cory on the way home just to have a chat because I needed a vent. I was absolutely seething with the game yesterday, like all Villa fans were. I don't want to go into it because let's put that behind us. Our season starts when we get back, and it's against Everton, and we are now going to go into that game with a better team to actually face Everton, and that is a decent Everton side, and they are playing very, very well, and we needed this reinforcement. Right.
We've got a man who's not afraid of playing away at Everton.
Yeah, let's get the cat out of the bag. Let's speak about public enemy number one, Emiliano Martinez.
Yeah, where do you start, really? Obviously...
Oh, God, yeah, this is going to be an horrible one.
Yeah. We can start with Do you know what? We'll start with the grand scheme of things, his transfer to Man United that never happened. Obviously, for whatever reason, he thought he was going to Man United. He thought it was all but done. No game for him yesterday. Again, obviously won't touch on the game too much. In the background, nothing's been said. He's not come out and said anything, except for at 5 o'clock today when he decided to get a bit cheeky on Instagram, but we'll get into that in a second as well. Ultimately, he's gone from potentially going down as one of Villa's greatest ever goalkeepers, this, that and the other, to public enemy number one, as you said, in the space of 3-4 days. And I just don't know where to start with it.
Right, let's talk about, first of all, so his agent has been speaking to Manchester United since January, which has been widely reported. Now, the journalists that have broken this, predominantly The Athletic and Jacob Tanswell, I trust Jacob Tanswell and everything he says like it is coming from your mother. He's absolutely fantastic at his job. Now, the fact of the matter is, he wants to go. He wants to go. He does not want to be at Aston Villa Football Club. And he has clearly made that clear. He has made that clear, sorry, because I'm so passionate about this, I'm having a rant here. The footballers at Aston Villa, John McGinn, Tyrone Mings, all the boys, when we lost Jacob Ramsey, put out these cryptic posts, all these messages on Ramsey. None of them wanted Ramsey to go. We have lost Jacob Ramsey. And now I am confident of this, and I said this to you offline, we have lost Jacob Ramsey because of Emiliano Martinez. Yeah. The club thought that he would be gone by now, and the fact that it has got all the way to where we are now, and it has fell through, he has got egg on his face. He's not welcome at Aston Villa Football Club, and this is my personal opinion. This is not potentially shared between me and Cory. My personal opinion is I don't want him at the football club. I don't want him on the pitch. I've seen some Villa fans saying that they'll accept him back and play him, but the man has disrespected us. He has let us down. Didn't want to play for the football club. Wanted to go to Manchester United. This is the same Emi Martinez that said to us, "Oh, I want to. If I'm going to leave, I want to go and win. I want to go win things." Which, if he did, and he went to a Manchester City and went and won absolutely everything, fair enough. But you're going to Manchester United that are absolutely poisonous, and it just feels like a massive slap in the face and disrespect shown to Aston Villa Football Club. And for me, that badge there, no one is bigger than Aston Villa.
No, 100%. You're bang on, Ben, and that's the thing. It hurts to see. I think that's the thing that so makes everyone so passionate is Emi Martinez is loved and was loved and adored by Villa fans. He was the first one when we were going through hard times. He was the one who would be on his Instagram, Twitter, whatever, bringing everyone up, saying, "Listen, we know we've done poorly, but this is just a blip. We're back. Like, we're going to make sure we do everything to put it right." And you trust him with everything. And towards the end of games, he was always at the whole end. He would always be the last one to leave the pitch. He was always making sure he was there with the fans. Obviously, he announced that he was signing a new contract because he wanted to win things at Aston Villa. Where it went wrong, who knows? We got to a Champions League quarter-final. We were in an FA Cup semi-final. We were in contention to get Champions League going into the final day, which again, he's cost us that by making a reckless... Okay, yes, it's a shit pass by Matty Cash. We can go on about that. But ultimately, Martinez didn't need to take Højlund down and decide to go fully at him. He's cost us that. And then to reward everyone for all his performances and the attitude he's given us over the last 18 months, he decides he's going to wait till the very last days to say, "I don't really want to play for Aston Villa anymore. I want to be sold, and I want you to try and figure out who's going to be a goalkeeper for you next year, or next week even."
I genuinely think we will look to sell him. Look, you've still got places like Turkey that are open. You've got Saudi open. I think the club are going to look to sell him. They're going to recall Joe Gauci, have Joe Gauci as number 2, Marco Bizzat as number 1 until January, and then go out and get a new goalkeeper. Emiliano Martinez, I don't want him anywhere near the club anymore. He is lower than the low for me. I'm absolutely furious. I'm seething with it personally. I feel like we've been completely let down. I feel so sorry for Unai Emery as well, because ultimately we as a club and him have been put in such a difficult position to be able to go and get a replacement for him. I genuinely think we would have got a replacement for him if he would have gone to Manchester United. I'm confident that the goalkeeper that I don't even know if Man United have announced that
They
goalkeeper.
have that, yeah, announced it when we started.
I think we would have signed him.
I think we would have got Chevalier at the start of the window when it was first announced that was the case. Lucas Chevalier he'd agreed personal terms with Villa. It was just a case of whether Martinez went to Man United or not. Nothing happened there at the start of the window. We lose out on Chevalier. Now it's come to here. Again, as I was saying to you, Diogo Costa looked like an option. He was never going to be able to come purely based off the fact that Porto aren't going to sell him right before the window without a replacement. It probably would have ended up being the Man United goalkeeper, the new Man United goalkeeper who came in, purely based off the fact that he was coming over to England anyway, no matter what. But ultimately, he's disrespected Villa fans as a whole. I mean, he turned down Galatasaray today. So it's clear his intentions are that it's not that he doesn't want to play for Aston Villa, it's that he wants to play for Man United. And that's the real kick in the teeth. And if there's any Man United fans that are watching this, we're not saying this to be disrespectful to Man United or anything like that. It's just the pure fact of where both clubs are at the moment. You can't offer us anything different than what he's getting at Aston Villa. You're not in the League Cup. You've lost to Grimsby. You're not in Europe. Your FA Cup's your only chance at a title or anything this year because you're not going to be in the top 6 in the Premier League again. What can you actually offer? And that's the thing. That's what's really annoyed Villa fans is Martinez has looked at Man United and said, that's where I want to go. If he just said he wanted to go to Man City, fair enough. If he wanted to go back to Arsenal, fair enough. If he wants to go to Liverpool, whatever. But he was willing to go to Man United, knowing full well as well, he was second choice. He was always second choice to that Belgian keeper who's gone. And he still wanted to go.
Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Well, where we do go is we ignore the fact that Martinez has brought a damper onto this mood, and we talk about the fact that we've signed one of the brightest talents England has in Harvey Elliott, and potentially another unbelievable talent in Jadon Sancho, who is still only 25 years of age and has the potential to turn his career around and also turn Villa's season around.
I agree. I do agree. I think it's very frustrating though, the Martinez situation. I'm really happy though about the signings that we have made, all three of them, including Lindelof. I think it puts us in a position now where we are stronger. We have strengthened everywhere that we need to. The only position that I would like to replace is potentially a new right back, but we can get onto that in January or next summer. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do with Matty Cash for now.
I think another thing to remember as well is, obviously, we look at sort of the bench and stuff in the last game, and everyone will moan, we only had 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Let's not forget, we've got Kamara to come back, we've got Onana to come back, we've got Barkley to come back, we've got Garcia to come back. So, again, the right-back situation, again, Garcia's probably not much better than Matty Cash, but it's still that thing.
He's still young, isn't he?
Still young, exactly. He's still growing. Even someone like Tristan Rowe, he's very raw and he's still young, so it'd be harsh to throw him into it. But we've got these players as backup. Obviously, Barkley. Listen, the thing with Barkley is he's always been a professional for us. He comes on and he does a job. If he'd have gone this window, we would have said, shook his hand, fair play, well done. Like, you've been a good servant for the year you were here last year. But he's still here, so he can come on and do a job. Kamara and Onana need to maybe go and see a masseuse or something and make sure they're not getting injured all the time. But that's, again, decent backup to have. Well, Kamara will start, but Onana's decent backup to have to come on in that 6. Tielemans is there. Obviously, Harvey Elliott, Jadon Sancho now coming in. Lindelof as well as sort of a backup on to Konza. It's not all as doom and gloom as people think.
Well, on that note, I think that's probably a good place to end it, because that was a nice little speech at the end there, pal. Is there anything more you want to go through?
No, I think we've covered it. Obviously, okay. We've got the season to look forward to now. It's a different start. Start from now.
Right, on that note, Villa fans, thank you for watching. For those of you that have made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and comment your opinions on the Martinez situation. We'd love to hear from you. And one last thing, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.